Good evening. My name is Letitia Hinton, and I want to talk about having Mars in the sign of Scorpio. I created a podcast earlier today talking about Cancer, Mars in Cancer, and I want to focus in firstly on the water signs, Mars and the water signs, because I think that it is or can be a really challenging place to have your Mars in your natal chart. So, Mars, of course, is a fire planet. It is red hot. It is in our natal chart. It shows how we take movements, how we push forward, how we have sex, how we like to, if we like to initiate sex, how we want to be approached as it relates to sex, how we take action in our lives in regards to doing anything that we are trying to do or trying to accomplish. And when we have Mars in water, and again, I was talking about this in my Mars and Cancer podcast. You can listen to that. It's up. I will probably come back and do a video on it because I really want to look at the glyphs, the ancient glyphs that show us how to work with this energy. And that's the main thing, that's the reason that I am bringing this up, because there are a million videos. You can Google Mars in the signs, but it's something else to work with it. Like, how do I work with this in my life? Because Mars in the water signs, again, can be really, really challenging. Like, if you are trying to make your life happen, if you are trying to accomplish your goals, and you have Mars in water, it can be challenging. Now, Mars in Scorpio, even though Mars in the sign of Scorpio is in its own sign, which helps it accomplish its goals, it does. But because Scorpio is a fixed sign, and some of the details about Scorpio makes Mars in Scorpio hard to deal with, and it can impede you getting to your goals, getting to where you are trying to go if you don't work with this energy properly. Okay, so I want to look at the glyph for Scorpio. Okay, so when we're talking about working with Mars and Scorpio, because God knows Scorpios, that energy is one that is looking at the videos, it's researching his sign. It knows, that Scorpio is a fixed sign, so it's stubborn. And as you've been researching, you know that Scorpio is a sign that holds grudges, is vindictive. Okay, so we're going to talk about all of that as we look at this glyph. Okay, so when we start looking at this glyph, we see this shape here. So none of the signs and symbols that we have around us anywhere are arbitrary. They all hold an energy, they all hold a power. And once we understand the symbology, we understand the message of God, the universe, source, spirit, um, whatever you want to say. And so when we look at this, we get a roadmap for how to properly work with the energy of Scorpio. When I drew this, I did not draw this down far enough, because this needs to come all the way down here. Okay. So Scorpio is a peculiar sign. in that it has transformations to it. Okay, Scorpio, although it is a fixed sign, which can oftentimes it can be a positive and a negative that it is fixed, because on the positive side, being that it's fixed with Mars being there, and this is the ancient ruler of Scorpio, whatever you set your mind to do, you will be stuck, and making sure that you hold course to be able to complete your goal. This is a perfect energy for somebody who is in the military, for somebody who is an investigator, for someone who is uh, into astrology, someone in a practical sense who is a burial director, someone who digs up crude oil, someone who is a plumber, someone who is going underground. And we can see this here. This sign, when we start out with the Scorpio energy, because again, we'll talk about the transformations that Scorpio makes along the way so we can understand more how to work with this energy. So when we start out initially with this underground, in the dark energy, the energy that excavates, we start out the energy of Scorpio as the scorpion. The scorpion, of course, is a creature that crawls on the ground. It has a hard exoskeleton, and it has a stinger on the end that if it feels threatened, if it becomes afraid, if it feels attacked, if it feels that it will be harmed, it will sting. The Scorpio will do that before the evolution. That is normal for the Scorpio. So when people have this are born with this Mars and Scorpio, they come here with past life trauma, and then they see things at a young age that are painful, that relate to power, that relate to control, that oftentimes relate to manipulation. So there is a programming that happens with Mars and how movement needs to happen when it relates to Scorpio, that when they move, they feel that they need to be protecting themselves at all costs. Okay, I'm going to have to turn some air on because I'm getting warm. I hope you can still hear me well. They need to go in stealth mode. They need to move secretly. And they, again, need to protect themselves from whomever may be trying to get them, even if there's nobody trying to get them. They can oftentimes feel that people are plotting against them. Okay, that's when we're down here with the exoskeleton crawling. The scorpion will hide in the rock, in the crevices, and it will wait for a victim, another insect, to walk by, and it will quickly sting them with the stinger to debilitate them, and then drag them in, and then eat them slowly. Mars having to do with sex. The actual scorpion, when it is mating, it is a tug of war. When the male scorpion is mating with the female scorpion, it is a power struggle that they go through. And it takes a long time. And Scorpio rules sex. And Mars rules how we have sex. It shows how we want to have sex. So Mars in this area, as it relates to love making in the lower energies, it can be using sex for power and control. Can be using their gifts, because they will be gifted in love making, able to go for long periods of time, able to be very sexually pleasing, But oftentimes, when they are not evolved, they want to use it to hold on to the person, to keep them in their grasp. One of the things about the Scorpio energy is that they want to possess the person. All of the water signs oftentimes want to mold into the person. Scorpio wants to almost become one with the person. And sex is one of those ways that they can understand themselves through another person, and even go through the evolutionary process. Okay? So we start here. And again, the glyph is showing us a roadmap to success with the signs. So we start down as a scorpion, and we make our way up through the evolution, through understanding, living life, going through pain, going through betrayal, going through deceit, deceiving and being deceived, betraying and being betrayed. And then Scorpio, spending time alone, which is key for Scorpio, going within, moments of introversion and introspection, looking inside to understand what has just happened. What happened in their relationship? Why did they leave me? Why did they abandon me? Why am I obsessed with them? Why am I stalking them? Why are they running from me? What is going on? So during these moments of introspection, the Mars and Scorpio person is going through this evolutionary process. Okay? And coming to the top of the evolution, the Scorpio evolves from the scorpion into the phoenix. So the phoenix is a bird that burns in the ashes. It's the thunderbird. Excuse me. Burns. I burped. That was so ugly. And I'm not going to edit it out. So I'm sorry. But you see my humanness. They evolve. The phoenix burns into ash and is reborn and is able to fly above the game plan and the minutia, but is still learning the lessons, goes back down again. There's more things that need to be excavated. The phoenix goes back down again, goes into the deeps, into the depths, underground, is looking at issues of childhood, looking at pain that they've seen from the masculine energy. We're talking about Mars. Looking at pain. Pluto is the modern ruler. Pluto rules death. Pluto rules all things ugly. Looking at abuse, going in, trying to understand, going through therapy, going to visit the therapist, studying astrology, trying to understand themselves and why they move the way they do, understanding other people, understanding psychology, doing past life regression, everything that it takes to heal the pain that oftentimes comes along with any of the personal planets in the sign of Scorpio. And up they come to come out. And they come out as the eagle. And as the eagle, they fly high above all of the animals. They are huge and predators. Okay? Again, that same idea of being a predator, but now flying high, majestic. The eagle is one of the most majestic birds of all times, can fly higher than any other bird. So even though it goes into the depths, it comes up and it can fly higher than any other bird. But as it is getting its prey, as it is eating, as it is going through life, as it is teaching others, as it is teaching its baby eagle how to fly, how to leave the nest, it has to go through pain even again as a part of life, but understands how to go down and come back up and continue to fly. And this is the roadmap for Mars and Scorpio. and all Scorpio energies, people with personal planets in Scorpio. This is a beautiful roadmap that we have within the glyphs. And so the goal for dealing with this energy is to not get stuck, because Scorpio again is a fixed sign, and the fixed signs is easy to get stuck. It's easy to get stuck. I had an experience. um I am a truck driver, and I had an experience where I drive the tanker, where I made a wrong turn. But I knew as I was sitting here, there was a lesson that the universe was speaking to me. I made a wrong turn on a road that was muddy. It was dry at first. As I continued on up, it was muddy. And so the weight of the tanker would not allow me to go forward. I couldn't go backwards, and I was stuck literally at a crossroads. And I was looking out at that crossroads, and I was saying, what is the message here for me? Why am I stuck here? What is going on? And as time continued on, I began to understand it is the message of the fixed sign of Scorpio, that we can be so stuck in our own ways that we are afraid to move forward and take a direction, knowing that this looks bad. Literally, when I made that turn to the left, there was a cemetery right there. There was a cemetery that I was turning towards, and I was like, this does not seem right. But the stubbornness of the Scorpio will stay in a situation, brooding in the mind about things that are happening, going back to things to punish people who've hurt them, the vindictiveness, getting revenge, so that they never come to the place of evolution, and they can stay. You can get stuck in paranoia. Though Scorpio is one of the most powerful signs, they go through so much pain. And sometimes, if they are not able to see their way up and out, look at it, deal with the pain, tell the truth about it. Don't run from it. Stay with it for a while and release it and come up. And when I was stuck in the mud, I was like, what is the lesson? And that was the lesson, that what was old needs to be shed. Old ways of thinking, old ways of believing, old ways of operating, power control issues needed to be released, so that I can come here and fly. Okay. And so I just wanted to share that. And so, yes, Scorpio has an ability to be very powerful in manifestation, manifesting what they want. But it requires the coming from below, going up, going down, coming up with the lessons, teaching others, bringing the gold that's been excavated below, the diamonds that you can find in the deep below, going down in there painstakingly, bringing up the wisdom, bringing up the knowledge, bringing up the diamonds to the surface, and able to share that knowledge, able to come up with it, share that knowledge with others. Go back down, get some more, come back up, and not get stuck in the minutia, in the things that steal your energy, because Scorpio, is easy for Scorpio to manifest. So Scorpio can be manifesting drama and pain and power and control issues, so much so until years go by and the same thing is just spinning and circling, and the things that they actually wanted to manifest, needed to manifest, were not able to be manifest because they got stuck down here, or came to this area and got stuck down here. Okay, so that is what I wanted to share, and I hope that that helped you have another outlook on Scorpio, Mars and Scorpio in particular. And thank you for listening.